Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our official page of Cremona on Facebook. My name is Ramona Munteanu. I am a member of the Art of Success team that takes care of the communication of Cremona Musica this year. From 22nd to the 24th of September, Cremona will be the center of classical music world, and it will take place the music exhibitions and festival, which includes a lot of exhibitions, concerts, master classes, seminars, and many other things. For more information, you can check our website cremonamusica.com and our media partner tgmusic.it. Today, I'm going to be your host for the interview number 35, and our guest is a very special one. Is the world-renowned pianist Andrei Gavrilov, who doesn't need presentations. He's the winner of the Tchaikovsky competition in 1974, and he had a huge career until 1993, when he decided to take a completely different path. He had a lot of obstacles and difficulties, and he will talk about it in this interview. But most of all, he became a completely independent and free artist. Let's invite Andrei Gavrilov. Let's welcome him. Hello, Andrei.
Hello, Ramona. Nice to see you.
Hello. Welcome to our interview number 35 for Cremona Musica.
Already the
We are
entire
having
army.
we are having a lot of interviews with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Okay, of course, you don't need presentations because you are so famous and everybody knows you. I already said that you won the Tchaikovsky competition in 1974.
Really?
And from 1993, you have a completely independent and free path as an artist. And we would like to hear you talk about it.
Well, it's very easy. In fact, if you try to get inside of the head, brain, and psyche of a serious musician, it would not be difficult to understand that commercial career and true music knowledge and true music making, being free artist, free spirit, who supposed to connect people with space with the help of the wonderful universal tool what we call music. It's just so good. I mean, you can't sing in the golden cage, even if there are a lot of gold, but it's still cage. You better be without any precious metals, but flying free. So this is basically it. It's very difficult. It's easy to say. It's easy to understand. That's very difficult to do because we're living in a certain society. We are society animals. We rely on the society. Society keeps control over financial assets, over the mass media, and so on and so forth. Everything what makes us visible. And we are also, on a certain extent, addicted to it, as unfortunately we are sometimes addicted to bad habits, because being addicted to commercial success, being addicted to financial wealth, being addicted to public attention, constantly being in the center of the limelight. This is not healthy. This is not healthy because it is destroying step by step, slowly but inevitably, destroying soul, destroying individuality. It's destroying personal view on the world, people, music. Being in the middle of it, you're starting to lose control over the events and becoming the tool of commercial inertia, which at the end of the day kills you as a human being and not allows you to develop as a free artist, basically. So the most difficult part of bringing this to life is to get rid of bad habits to which we are addicted to. And this is the most difficult because we are addicts. We are addicts to bad habits. We are addicts to habits. We are addicts to lifestyle. We are addicts to attention. We are addicts to anything which brings us in the short term positive feelings. But this is, in fact, in strategical view, not at all positive. It is very, very negative. And the task of the life of the independent spirit to become truly independent and get rid of all humans' earthy addictions. That's tough.
It's quite almost impossible. It's almost impossible. I mean, I think you have so many years of this deep, so deep research of the soul of the art and of the soul of humanity and of music that the path is so long and so difficult. Not everybody is um, maybe not everybody has this disponibility, this way of seeing the world, but maybe it's the only one to really get to the point, not really to get to understand the music of these geniuses.
It's,
That
again, it is all very simple, dear Ramona, because to understand music is equal to understand the meaning of life. And do many people understand the meaning of life? Very
nobody.
few. Very few. Handful of people in 100 years. Uh, so that's again, it's very easy to understand because music is all embracing synthetic phenomenon, which in sounds and vibrations, in full of sense musical waves containing the entire humanity, the soul of humanity, the brain of humanity, and all the intentions and all the history of humanity. It's all in these sound waves we call music. It's a huge thing, a huge space scale, cosmic scale phenomenon. And if we want to understand it consciously, life is very short. We cannot waste any second of time, any second of our life for any other things but just studying. And probably, if you live long enough and be successful with your intelligence and your hard work, you might one day will be able consciously understand this phenomenon we call music.
Your view is something so high. I think you're unique in your view of the music and of the world, and that's why I would like to ask you to explain even more your philosophy of interpretation. I know you don't like this word. I know, and your
Whatever.
concept.
No, no, Ramon. My credo is that true artist, true free spirit, true human being should be as transparent as possible, even more transparent than our atmosphere. So you can ask me anything about everything, about anything you want to know, or our audience would like to find out. Just don't hesitate. Feel free. I am a freedom in flesh.
So please talk about your last CDs, which are called "Music as a Living Consciousness," that you will also present in Cremona. Okay, talk about the why did you choose those pieces? Or why do you call these last CDs in this way? And whatever you you decide to describe and to share with us.
I understand your question. It's yes, it is fully legitimate question because it's a basic, fundamental cornerstones of my life, which I was developing the last 25, 30 years. And basically, it's all started about 25 years ago when I came to conclusion that we musicians and the entire world, we simply do not consciously understand what music is. Knowing all my colleagues, meeting all the colleagues from the previous generations, I was lucky still in the 70s being a boy, meeting people who were representing 19th century. They were still alive. And I was working with them. They were in their 70s and their 80s, but they were the products which of the century, which gave us 90% of Western European music. So it was all very close and it was all very useful. But knowing all of those people and being able to work with them, I was more and more coming to conclusion that all what we do, musicians, we do according to traditions, according to um, all sorts of different schools, and mostly we, knowing the basics of the theory, harmony, analysis, and also so on, we are not real conscious artists. We are experienced artisans. You know, we know how to do music. We know how to make it sound perfect, but we don't know what it is, why, and how it works, because it's all was related on the history, on the traditions, and above all, it was the mother intuition, which we call talent or whatsoever. But consciously, I was meeting hundreds of musicians. They consciously cannot even formulate what music is. They would start speaking about stars and planets, space, feelings, emotions, reflexes, or so on. But nobody would say in a few words, because as the beautiful Albert Einstein said, if you can't explain any subject to a 5-year-old child, it means you don't know the subject. I more than agree with him because,
Yes, you're right.
because when you know the subject, whatever it will be, the relative theory or the sense of music, core of music, purpose of music, you can explain it in 5 words to any child. It means you know that subject. It means you are arrived to understanding. Because everything on our planet at the end of the day is very simple. But to come to this simplicity consciously, you have to go through this incredible force of subconscious, unconscious intuitions, wrong traditions, right traditions, filter right out of wrong, and so on and so forth. And when you start this work, you see the gigantic space of false values. You should single-handed cut off your consciousness and come to the gorgeous simplicity. And so, therefore, asking my musical friends in the beginning of the century, guys, what do we have in this course? Texts, notes. Well, I know, but what it is? What's in this? What's in these little books written with this funny musical language? Nobody would tell me. Therefore, it was inevitable that I had to find out what it is. And that's how it's all started about 20 years ago. Before this, it was like the whole decade of getting rid of bad habits, finances, attention, connections with agents, and so on and so forth, adopting and accepting the idea that you're going to be forgotten. I mean, why do I need the audience who has the memory of aquarium fishes? If they forget you in 5 years, I don't need this audience. Or it means I'm not worth remembered to be remembered. This is probably even more close to the truth, because we usually remember something which is so good that it is impossible to forget.
But you're also talking about the superficiality of people, of society, because of course, you are impossible to forget, I tell you. And I'm sure I'm not the only one to think about.
So, no, well, it's always it's nature. We are the huge conglomerate of living creatures, and nature constantly puts experiences on us, very cruel experiences we call life process. And one of us accumulating something which, some forces, some strengths, some ideas, some intelligence which allows um, this particular individual to be a pioneer somewhere. Columbus goes to the United States and open America, thinking that he is in India, and so forth. With me, it happened recently when I started to prepare Well-Tempered Clavier of Bach. I thought I was going to India, but at the end of the day, I found out that I opened America. Because Well-Tempered Clavier appeared to be something completely different that we people imagined for 300 years. But later, probably, if we'll have time, we'll talk about it. So for the 20 years, it was a very hard work of developing the philosophy and trying to be as laconic as possible, trying to find out what music is, trying to define it in the literal language, because all languages are basically the same tools, they're only working differently. We have language of mathematics, we have language of music, we have language of literal language, and they are all brothers and sisters. They're all chains of the one body, which is common human intelligence. And they help each other. Now, for example, musical language for the entire history was mostly, as I told you, relating to the history, traditions, and intuition. And I felt that in 21st century, we cannot already rely on intuition anymore, because it's just not serious. It belongs to what I call to the childhood of humanity, when they were deeply religious, when they saw in thunderstorm the presence of God, who was driving his car up there in the clouds. So, in 21st century, it simply didn't work. It's already becoming laughable when we are operating by the same term, oh, music, oh, mystical thing, all this kind of stuff. It just doesn't work anymore. It's funny. It's really funny. It's ridiculous. 21st century. I mean, the Hubble is there, photographing the end of the universe, and we're still talking about the mysterious way of feeling the music. For me, it simply didn't work. Somewhere about 20 years ago, I started just to laugh about it. And then came kind of a midway conclusion that music is an ancient cipher, which is so highly developed that it preserves in it the feelings and thoughts which composers look up there, and then The idea of being a musician who is voicing music on the different instruments or the orchestra, conducting the orchestra, is to decipher all this idea and thoughts and feelings, but consciously deciphering. For that, when I started to try consciously deciphering music, I came to the fact that we don't have a dozen of new disciplines we need for deciphering consciously music. We need things like physiological analysis of the text. We need things like psychological analysis of the text. We need like psychoanalysis, kind of a Freudian type, but in related to musical language. And it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 20, 30 disciplines which I had just to start from scratch because it doesn't exist. For example, to open the secret of well-tempered clavier, help my new discipline, the physiological analysis of the text. Through the physiology of well-tempered clavier, I came inside the Bach's head. Because only through physiological experience, when you're overcoming and start seeing all his physiological tasks he put in there, overcoming these physiological tasks, there are chains of that, there are hundreds, thousands of different, very difficult tasks, which becoming more and more clear when you are achieving mastery and overcoming them. And you become completely new man, physiologically new build man, very difficult, very painful, physically painful too, bleeding hands, internal bleeding all over your body because you need completely new tools, which also does not exist because this technique was never developed and humanity simply lost it because we went to much simpler technique, which was developed already by Beethoven and Mozart, Beethoven, all those guys who much simplified music after Bach's time, simplified, make it more physiologically comfortable. No matter how difficult Liszt, Schumann, Chopin, technical tasks they are, physiologically organic. What Bach does
Yes.
is completely against human physiology because what Bach wants a Superman. Bach wants developing a real Superman on the basis of well-tempered clavier. And well-tempered clavier is a tool to become a Superman. Superman musician who can entertain God. That's a lot of Bach. If we start really understanding what Bach's writing, we again coming to very simple things. What Bach wrote on the title list of the first edition in 1722, for those who want to study music and those who succeeded for their special entertainment. Special
So,
entertainment. He gave us a tool for unending entertainment. And what is special entertaining in the words of religious mind of Bach, who are as high religiously as Luther and as high scientifically as Newton, who lives next door to him, or Leibniz, who lives across the street in Leipzig Uni. And those guys, they're creating our civilization and entire science. And Bach was among them, and he had the same caliber of his brain, mind, and intelligence. Only, thanks God, he didn't have money for Uni, and he went to music. Only because of this, we don't have another Leibniz or Newton, but we have Bach. Thanks God, because he's unique. He is on the same caliber as those milestone intelligences of the human history. And so special entertainments, in the words of such mind and such religious tension in a positive way, special entertainment just seeing the God.
so I think we all have to go back and play Bach, well-tempered clavier.
We have to
Like
go
you
back.
with your
We have to go back to Bach. We have to
yes.
go to use my what I got there, and I give 100% assurance that it's not my interpretation or hypothetic hypothesis or what so on and so forth. No, it is all quite simple when you get inside there through the new discipline I call physiological analysis, because Bach was a keyboard animal, a mutant who could do with the keys what we cannot even imagine. We are, being a product of 19th century, we used to be comfortable with any keyboard, work
Yes.
hard, play thirds, octaves, whatsoever. But there's nothing to do compared to what Bach put in front of us. What Bach
You're
put in front of us is it's just a task for aliens, because we never developed this technique. We were too small for him. And now
yes.
we have to, we have, well, I mean, is it very often when in music we have a mind of the size of Newton or Leibniz? No, this is only Bach. We have only one mind like this. Thanks God we have him. So we have to go back to him, find out everything about his methods, about his composition method, about because it's purely mathematical. It's impossible. We're coming to zillions of different questions. Like we cannot interpret Bach. We have only we can only voice his mathematical structures. Mathematical. I call his on the scientist level. I call scientist language. I call the well-tempered clavier as mathematical cognitive musical structures, which is using mathematical way in terms of language, how he writes. It's like a geometry.
Mm.
And cognitive because when we understand it, it develops us cognitively. We are becoming different humans. It's develop our brain immensely. Understanding Bach on the equal level, it's like you are becoming Bach himself, yourself.
Mm.
You just have a handshake with him and you are already equal to Bach, understanding him. Easy, but difficult to do. And not as difficult when we have somebody who already knows what to do. I mean, to me, it took 55 years. To you, it will take 5.
So thank you so much for all of these treasures that you are sharing with us. When is your CD going to be released? I think in
February, February,
February.
February.
Oh,
February. We're trying to run it to February. The most important is the financial part, as we're doing everything private, as we're doing everything by our little society, which is slightly more than 100 people, who very often are giving their last pennies to our common budget. And for the finishing, the Bach project will be very expensive because 2 discs, it needed a lot of different sessions, because well-tempered clavier appeared to be a most interesting and valuable, if we put it in modern language, computer game, which has levels. Let's say from level 1 to level 10. Again, when we start to analyze what Bach was writing in his few words, we will find all this in these words. I mean, if you want to study music, you are on the level 1 or 2. If you succeeded and want to see the God, you are level 7 to 10. And then you see the God. And then well-tempered clavier starts speaking to you as cosmos, as well. We call it cosmos and space nowadays. Bach was calling this God. Doesn't matter. It's the same. We just have different vocabulary, but meaning the same things. That's incredibly interesting. That's incredibly valuable. And what Bach gave us, it's first of all, it's unbelievable, beautiful music in a space of a beauty we don't know, because this beauty is not emotional. This beauty is not rationally intellectual. This beauty, which probably only Bach saw from musicians, the beauty what Einstein was seeing in the formulas, the beauty what Newton was seeing in the formulas, or Leibniz, whom I'm mentioning as the equals to Bach. It is a beauty of space harmony, which works with us on the multi level. It makes us stronger physically, stronger spiritually, stronger mentally. We grow in all senses, understanding and acquiring all the difficulties, overcoming all the difficulties, being able to do everything what Bach put there on the level of special entertainment, as Bach said. We're becoming a new man, a new race, the conscious Superman players.
Oh, you're
Unbelievable.
you're so
It is
inspiring.
unbelievable. It is unbelievable. And it is all true because I'm not exaggerating anything and I'm not making up. I'm just saying my experience, which I just finished last week. That's it. So, coming back to the beginning of our conversation, in this angle of the new philosophy, so 2018, this philosophy was ready. I call it music as living consciousness, as I came to the conclusion that we have to voice music as a living creature. No matter which composer we're voicing, which composer, we have to penetrate inside their heads, and because any good composition of any composer is a part of his intelligence put in the vibrations and in this what I call clever music, clever sound waves, which containing without time containing the whole information about humanity. This is a particular individual. Therefore, we need a lot of new disciplines because old conservatories, old schools, they're not good enough. They're already outdated. We need completely new foundation, musical foundation, where would be things like, even more importantly, that what conservatory does, but what conservatory does is only basic tools for becoming a musician. But they need also, it is possible to teach to become a musician. And they need philosophy, psychology, physiology, all types of new analysis, which simply not exist. This is a huge space for developing us musicians and developing music. Understanding that music has nothing to do with art, it has parts of art, but it is a synthetic phenomenon which is embracing all the spheres of human activity.
Wow, Andrei, thank you so much. You are always so incredibly inspiring. Uh, Unfortunately, our time is about to end. I'm
Well,
sorry because
Ramon, I'm here. I'm here. My last 25 years was dedicated for creating a roadmap for you guys so you can go in music and develop, not for 100 years, for a couple of millenniums minimum. And I have it all.
oh my God, I'm really looking forward to meeting you in Cremona, and I think everybody will be so happy to meet you in person, and we are really so anxious and so enthusiastic
Hopefully, my
about
dear
hearing.
Rama, because I never expect anything special from meeting people because I'm quite moderate towards people about expectation. I always prefer be surprised of some extraordinary soulmate. If I met those, then it makes me happy. But I never expect anything. Also, I'm never disappointed by people because I perfectly understand music now. It means I understand people. I don't expect anything special, but it might happen when somebody is ready for pioneering.
Yes. Thank you so much again, Andrei. Really, really, so thank you so much.
Mm.
I really have a good feeling, a great feeling about this experience. that you will be with us for 3 days from the 22nd until the 24th of September in Cremona. And really, thank you again. See you soon, and goodbye.
Thank you, guys. I love you all, of course. Without love, no music. I can be very critical, but it's just because I care and love you, stupid guys.
Okay, we love you too, Andrei. Goodbye. Goodbye.